So I worked for 8 years in that building right there as an FBI agent after I got out of the Navy and did contracting for the Department of Homeland Security. And the interesting thing about being in there is that we looked for effective solutions for everything that we faced. We looked for effective solution in everything that we faced. In the Navy, when I was a SEAL, we came up with 3 concepts of operation for every single operation we went on. We didn't just show up after we were tasked with something and say, hey, let's go do it. We always had a plan. A virus is the slowest moving natural disaster known to man. Hurricanes, we know that they're going to come every year. We know how to predict them. Yet still we're surprised every year when they show up and people get injured. A virus, we know that it's going to come. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. It's been 100 years since a virus came to this nation. Yet no one, and when I say no one, doctors, politicians, leaders of any kind, state, local, and federal, had a plan on what to do when a virus got here. Now I want you to think about that. We had 100 years to come up with a plan, and yet still they did not have any idea how to handle this. And when it did arrive, if I was a SEAL and we didn't have a plan of action, and yet something was happening right outside of where our base was, or if I was in the FBI and we got notified that there was a terrorist attack, what we would do is instantly use our skills. If it was a fluid situation, our expertise, we would use the training that we've had to figure out the best possible solution for that issue. You didn't see any of that from a politician. You didn't see any of that from the legislation that gave all the power to Cuomo to make these decisions. No one had a plan. No one. And what does that tell you? No one had any expertise. You got doctors who say they're virology specialists. You got experts in media who come on and tell you how it should have been done. No one had a plan. Now, the one thing that we did know is that it was very, very dangerous when COVID arrived. The first thing we knew is that it was deadly to elderly people. So yet, and everybody that's been up here and talked about this, Cuomo, the first thing, and several other of these governors around the United States made the decision to stick COVID positive patients in with these people. It made no sense tactically, and it showed that they were doing one of two things. They were either politicking this, or they were just flat out not concerned with the reality of the lives of these elderly people. I think it was probably both. Now I want to close with this. I want you to think about this. We've heard that saying that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. That is absolutely true. But what is also true is that there's people, we're in downtown Manhattan. We have some conservatives, we have a lot of liberals. But one thing is for certain, when people are oppressed, liberal and conservative doesn't matter. Right now, what happened in this case is that liberals, conservatives, gay, straight, black, white, it didn't matter. There was no difference. There was absolutely no concern for these individuals' lives. Oppression is the one great equalizer. If you think there's a difference between any of us, and there's really not, look at what happens when you're oppressed. And that's what happened under this administration in this state. It had nothing to do with President Trump. It had nothing to do with how fast COVID was going. It had to do with the fact there was no plan, and when it came down to push, came down to shove, they just said, put the sick people in with the elderly, and it made no sense, and people died. If I had done something like that in the Bureau, I would have been charged, most likely, if I killed 15,000 people because of a decision that I made and it was wrong, negligent homicide. If I had thought about that decision and then purposely went out and did it regardless, knowing that I was going to kill people, that would just be premeditated murder. And I can guarantee you, if I was a doctor or still an FBI agent or anything else, I would have been charged. And I think what we see here today not just grieving families, but you see people standing up to tyranny. You see people standing up to oppression. You see people standing up against a tyrant who has played the people and acts as though he's a mafia boss. He is not. He's an elected official. He can be removed from office. And the FBI should be investigating this to the utmost extent of which it's possible. And I do know that it's possible if they put politics aside and they went after Cuomo responsibly like they would for any other civilian and hold him accountable the same as they would any other civilian. Cuomo not only would be out of office, he would be in jail. That's what needs to happen. God bless all of you. And listen, what's coming up next, Tracy Alvino, what she's going to talk to you about, and what all these women have talked to you about, and men and women that have been out here, they are true victims. They are true victims, not of a virus that took their family. They're true victims of incompetent leadership and tyrannic behavior from a man that needs to be removed and put in jail. Thank you.